the streets of ancient Aksum, priests and their helpers display costumes that owe their origins to the early days of the church, as do the multicolored umbrellas, delicately embroidered in rich fabrics. This is St. Mary's Day, Aksumion, and in her honor, the patriarch of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has come to lead the procession. Passing relics of ancient Aksum, the procession echoes the glories of another age, whilst providing a never-to-be-forgotten spectacle for all who come here. Such is the importance of this event in the calendar of the Orthodox Church that the Patriarch comes in person to give his blessing to his flock. As the ceremonies progress, the hypnotic rhythms of the drums are joined by solemn dancing, each dance having its own meaning within the framework of a timeless celebration. North from Aksum stands the rugged grandeur of the Semien Mountains, a great scar of rock which contains Africa's fourth highest peak, the 4,620-meter Rastashen. Amid the breathtaking majesty of this mountain region, wildlife abounds. The air is still, and the silence of the sleeping hills brings the traveler to a new world of peace and contentment. One of the most fascinating examples of wildlife to be found in the Semien is the Gelada baboon, also known as the bleeding heart baboon, because of the heart-shaped red skin area of its chest. These unspoiled animals move in troops of several hundred. Unharmed by local people and protected by Ethiopia's strict hunting laws, the baboons are thriving. And what more delightful picture for the camera safari to bring back than the graceful ibex, the mountain goat, all but extinct in other parts of the world, but flourishing in Ethiopia. The ibex, indigenous to these parts, is known as the Walia ibex, and it leads a solitary existence. In Ethiopia, charm abounds, even in the veteran aircraft which take visitors on internal flights to Lalibela, a city steeped in centuries of history. Follow these footsteps, and you come face to face with the ancient civilization, which has its roots in the very earth of this place. Lalibela was the capital city of the Zagwe dynasty, which grew to greatness as the power of Aksum declined. King Lalibela, who gave his name to the settlement, lived and ruled here in the 12th century, building a dynasty which in its time eclipsed even Aksum. He began work on 11 churches carved from living rock, superbly intricate and interconnected structures which rank among the marvels of engineering. Thousands and thousands of unknown and unsung craftsmen labored here for decades to leave this breathtaking monument to the king and the Coptic Christian Church. Today, these churches still live. Far from being sterile relics, they provide examples of a living faith inherited from another age, in all its mysterious glory. Inherent in old beliefs are the colorful and moving ceremonies and festivals which still survive, and serve as a valuable glimpse into the early days of the Christian church. A picture of devotion that accurately mirrors events that first took place more than 800 years ago, here, on this ground. This ceremony celebrates the baptism of Christ, and in Ethiopia is called Timkut. People come from all over Ethiopia, and from many other parts of the world, to be here at this time of religious commemoration. Ceremonies such as these are solemn occasions. Yet, here in Ethiopia, there's a special joy to be found at such moments. Priests in religious robes sway to the music as they sing hymns, and their triumphant happiness is radiated to all who come to see and to take part.
Open.
All the mystic wonder of a bygone age is present in these moments, as one corner of modern Ethiopia pauses to remember its glorious past. And now another journey into yesterday. This is Gondar, once capital of Ethiopia and a stronghold of kings and emperors throughout the Middle Ages and into the 17th century. The walls of the ancient city and half a dozen of its gates are still to be seen in modern Gondar. Like all great cities of the past, Gondar was the scene of political turmoil and successive wars, which eventually sapped the strength of its rulers and people until only their artifacts remained to speak for them. King Faisal, who held the throne in Gondar during the 17th century, may have imported Indian and Armenian craftsmen to build this turreted castle. Such imported skills were common in a city-state famed for its art, its music, and calligraphy, and which left its mark on the passage of time. Selassie, Holy Trinity Church, a famous 14th century church and a top tourist attraction. Its chief glory is its magnificent wall paintings, their colors as bright and vibrant as the day they were first painted by master craftsmen. modern tourist expects modern facilities, and these are provided to the highest standard in the Goha Hotel in Gondar. But the style of the hotel is pure 16th century, to blend with its historic surroundings. A short journey from the city of Gondar brings the traveller to the shores of Lake Tana, the largest lake in Ethiopia, and itself once a center of civilization in this part of Africa. It's a region of great beauty, rich in historical and artistic souvenirs, as well as outstanding natural splendor. Lake Tana, 5 times as big as Lake Geneva in Switzerland, still carries traffic on papyrus boats, identical to those which plied these waters 2,000 years ago. And yet amenities for today's tourists are as up-to-date as the most fastidious could demand. This modern hotel on the shores of the lake was built in traditional style, with every modern comfort. Come to Lake Tana and travel the traditional way, and your papyrus boat will bear you through placid scenery towards one of the many islands on the lake, all of which are exquisite shrines to kings and deities long past. Daga Island, home of St. Stephen's Monastery, which shelters some of Ethiopia's most treasured historical artifacts. The monks of St. Stephen's remain gravely unimpressed as the tourists flock to their church. But the riches they guard are dazzling. The church and its fabulous wall paintings commemorate King Faisal, whose remains were taken to the island and preserved in the church more than 300 years ago. Unlike many of the world's ancient shrines, this was never vandalized or despoiled. And on display are works which cost craftsmen a lifetime in the making. Close by, the crowns, which once adorned the heads of kings and their families, still carefully preserved. More and more Ethiopians are being made aware of the rich history of their country and are coming in ever-increasing numbers to the centers which reveal the tapestry of their past. As well as Daga, there are some 40 other islands on Lake Tana, most of them still providing homes for churches or convents, as well as being the last resting places of distinguished kings and princes. This is King Faisal, entombed many hundreds of years ago, and still lying in state before the eyes of the incredulous visitor. Carried back to the hotel from a glimpse of history in a papyrus craft, the visitor could be excused for believing that he's been in another world. And yet, he will be quick to learn that Lake Tana offers far more than the history of kings, for this is the birthplace of the Blue Nile. The first Europeans to discover the source of the Blue Nile were the intrepid Portuguese. They built this stone bridge in the 17th century, and it's still in daily use. mainly by the thousands of tourists who are lured here by one of the truly mighty spectacles of Ethiopia, the Blue Nile Falls. Thundering cataracts provide an awesome assault on the eye and ear as the mass waters of the river plunge 45 meters to the river bed. Local Ethiopians call it Tisabai, which means Great Smoky River, and it's easy to see why. Few places on earth will provide such magnificent pictures as the Blue Nile Falls, for here nature has excelled herself in both the manner and the execution of this thrilling display of overwhelming power. From Lake Tana, the landscape drops sharply into peaceful valleys. On the way down, anyone with a camera can take another look at the friendly baboon. Although named bleeding heart baboons, there appears to be nothing heartbroken about them. In Ethiopia, there is never the need to hurry. Down in the valleys, the many little towns bustle with activity on market days. But even then, there is always enough time to admire the sparkling scenery. We are on an age-old trade route. A caravan of camels bringing a mole and Ganfur salt from the Danakil region to market at Bati. The carrying of salt is very big business in this part of Ethiopia, since it's not only essential to the diet, it is also used as currency in a market where barter is still the normal way of commerce. There is a dignified serenity about the way of life in these small lowland towns. The market is brisk, and you can buy almost anything by trading in a bar of salt or a goat. And yet, the life of these superbly handsome people is measured more by the rising and setting of the sun than by minutes on the clock. Bati has become an important trading center in recent decades, and the operation of the market is crucial to the lives of a great many people. But visitors from many lands are not unusual, and they are given the smiling welcome Ethiopia always gives to all who come to their country in search of peace and a change of temper. From Bati, the road leads east to the Ogaden through Rocky Valley, strewn with grotesque boulders in weird shapes, scattered around a dry and sunny valley like toys in a giant's playground. The capital of Harage region is Harar, a city renowned for its dry air, almost continuous sunshine, and even temperature. A place